Greetings and welcome to the Magic Hat Brewery, where we use ancient alchemy and modern-day science to create the best-tasting beer on the planet, and to bring you a performance in every bottle. Today we will be discussing the brewing process from start to finish right here at the ARTIFACTORY located in South Burlington, Vermont, where our story starts out in the towering grain silos located at the north end of the building. The grain silo holds malted barley, the first building block in the brewing process. Malt is usually defined by type, and we begin with two-row pale. This accounts for 80% of our malt mix and is light in color and mild in flavor. Hey, Malty! Malty's off to the mixing room, where he'll be combined with a variety of other malts, yielding different flavors depending on the batch at hand. Once mixed, he and his malt friends will head on out through the grist mill, which will grind and crack open the malt, exposing its interior, known as endosperm. The cracked malt will then travel down a wide funnel and up and out through a tube known as the auger, now that it is ready to be mashed. Our water is triple filtered after it is sourced from the cold depths of our own beautiful lake, Lake Champlain, right here in Vermont. It is then gradually brought up to 170 degrees, where by now it is ready to receive the cracked malt and begin the slow and important evolution of starch to sugar in the mash tun. After 1.5 hours, the mash is then ready to move to the lauter tun. To lauter means to separate in German, and this is exactly what the rotating zigzag arms are doing. The lauter tun has a false bottom and works a lot like a coffee filter, through which clear wort is collected and only spent grain left behind. Up until about 4 years ago, our spent grain was donated to local farmers who used it to feed their cattle. Today, we have an ingenious new machine known as the digester, which makes actual energy from spent grain, though this will be discussed in a future film. The newly separated wort is then flowed to the brew kettle, where it will be gradually heated again to a rollicking boil. The boil usually lasts around 1.5 hours, during which time to add the hops. Hey, Hoppy! Hops have been used in the brewing process since the beginning of time to promote stability, clarity, flavor, and aroma. The beautiful cone flowers are harvested and added to the boil at different times to achieve different flavor results. It is entirely up to the brewer to decide if he should wet hop, dry hop, or both, and for how long. It is also believed that hops were originally used by the British to help preserve beer on its long journey overseas, though some believe this to be a myth. The boiled wort is then sent on through the heat exchanger to slowly drop its temperature so that we have cooled wort on the way out. Meanwhile, the residual heat from this process is routed back to the beginning to be reused during the next batching. This cooled wort is almost beer. Then it's off to the tanks of the fermentation room, where it is time to let our 160-year-old Ringwood yeast strain do some of the work. Hey, Ringwood! It's the yeast's job to go ahead and eat as much sugar as he can possibly hold and process, and then, when he is finally ready, he and his millions of friends burp and belch aloud, releasing gas and creating flavor and alcohol. Often this is carried out in an open tank like this one to allow the yeast to be free. Then, what is now officially called beer is spun in a centrifuge to extract any larger wheat and yeast particles, and then on through a diatomaceous earth filter for superfine filtering, and then on through the carbonator to dial in the desired level of fizz. Then our filtered beer is chilled for 24 hours in a conditioning tank to settle and to rest. At this stage of the game, the beer is now called bright, which means it is officially ready to roll. It's now production's job to snap into action, fire up the bottling lines, and go full speed ahead to get the beer into containers and out the door. Go, man, go! as our number one goal is to deliver you the beer that is cold and as fresh as physically, humanly, and mechanically possible. So cheers to you, and thank you for joining us today. Please make sure you head to the sampling bar and try the latest and greatest our brewers have dreamed up. And remember to come back and see us real soon. Bye for now.